Tarumbeta italia katika anga.
Like this. That is how the trumpet will sound.
Konene. So kuna vile umse anaitwa Oketch Salah amekuwa make headlines, and of course a time that he made headlines and I even reacted to the story was vile Winnie Odinga alibaki ameenda Citizen and she was asked if she knows him, and akabaki ampatia a very interesting answer. But sasa jana kuna ule like, is it an assistant wa Raila, alibaki amepatia also a whole other very interesting answer about this whole thing. So I don't even know what to think about Winnie and why Winnie felt like she needed to talk about Salah the way she talked about Salah. Nacheki. And cause if anaitwa Dennis Onyango, yes, alikuwa gani? The communications director for the Raila Odinga secretariat. He was asked about Salah and he said something interesting. But let's travel back in time. Wacha tuende back to the time when Winnie Odinga was on Citizen and she was asked about this character called Salah. And I'm calling him a character because he is a character.
All right. I want to ask about another gentleman whom we saw emerging, I think, in towards the end. There's a gentleman that calls himself Oketch Salah. We've seen video clips of him. He says he was close to your father until the end. He claims he funded some trips and he has some things to say about the party, but most of all about Raila Odinga. He calls himself Raila Odinga's adopted son. Winnie, do you know Oketch Salah?
So, Winnie, do you know Oketch Salah? So, I think she answered the first line. Her first sentence was truthful.
I've met him, but I'd like to believe nobody really knows him. I also feel sad for him. You know, my father died, and that was a very traumatic experience for me. But at least he died with somebody he knew loved him. And I believe people need to take better care of their loved ones. And mental health is a really important thing. When you live here and you go on Thika Road.
Damn, kumbuka hii sentence ya Thika Road. I remember I had to react to it because it was one of those like, damn man, why did she say that?
There are two options. You either turn right as you're going to Mathare, or you turn left and you're going to DCI. Because a flat out lie that you were there at the time of my father's death and you were not, talking things that did not occur is quite dangerous. It makes me question a lot of things. What would be those intentions?
So mecheki hapo amebonga juu a flat out lie that alafu aka imply that Salah was not there, najua when nani alikuwa na dedi. But now this other guy goes to TV, goes on TV, and he gives a very interesting account ya stories of Salah. And now it makes me ask myself, like, why was Winnie lying? Because according to this guy, wacha tusikize Dennis Onyango. So Dennis Onyango alikuwa the communications director of the Raila Odinga secretariat. Of course, he was involved very closely with Raila. And wacha tusikize.
I want to get into family issues. Everyone who worked around Raila know Oketch Salah. I met him. I traveled with him. He was Raila's friend. Why they were friends, I don't know. As an aide, if you want to help your boss, you help him accommodate his people. If Raila shows up with Oketch Salah, it is not for me to tell him, don't show up with Oketch Salah, show up with Dennis Onyango.
And this is, of course, a very, that makes sense. Why? Because number one, you're an employee, and number two, at the end of the day, Raila is your boss, and no one knew that Raila would die. So, of course, kumwambia that if you die, Oketch Salah will end up being known and is going to say he's your adopted son and this is going to piss off your family. No one knew that. So yeah, I feel like Upper Dennis answered it in the best way that he knew how.
No. So Oketch Salah was Raila's friend. What made them friends, I don't know. On the final day when Raila was leaving for India, never to return, we were with Oketch Salah at Raila's home in Karen. He brought a phone, an iPhone 17, and they left. In India, I spoke to Raila directly on his phone. I also spoke to Raila through Oketch Salah's phone.
So nacheki, so with this, because I remember there was the photos we used to see, the photos of Raila akiwa na Oketch Salah, even on a plane, traveling together. So somehow, and you know, with life, you never know what will make you gravitate towards someone. And I don't know if maybe you are Raila wanna feel a little bit jealous about that, which is understandable. It's human nature, but at the end of the day, he was your dad. And he was not a dad to Oketch Salah. So Oketch Salah can say all these other things, but I don't think he's also saying them from a point of malice. From the little things I've seen, this Oketch Salah also loved and respected Raila. Najua, that's, and I feel like maybe Raila also needed that, because it's not everything you can discuss with your daughter, for example. So, but tuendelee.
Why they were friends, I don't want to know. But I can't say they were not friends.
So Oketch Salah, you can confirm he was with Raila Odinga akiwa India?
Yes, we traveled with him to many several destinations. Why they were friends, I don't know. And it was not my business to know why people are Raila's friends.
Was he a friend or an adopted son?
No, adopted son, I think those are now figurative words. People don't think Oketch Salah means to. By the way, I know, even before Nini, I know the Salahs, we come from Migori. His father, he was a businessman in Migori. His father had the first bakery in Migori. We knew Salah bread in Migori.
Okay, so I guess that's where the money comes from. The money comes from bread. Okay, I think kuna hizi biashara that tunatakigi for granted that have a lot of money. Unajua kama biashara nyingine, acha nikwambie. Kuchana unajua hii biashara, kuna biashara nyingine, imagine wewe ukuwe the person who supplies salt hapa Kenya. Imagine kuna how many families, kuna like 50, kuna 55 million Kenyans. That's at least 10 million families. Imagine ni wewe ndio una supply salt kwa every family. Anza hiyo biashara leo. By the end of this year utakuwa billionaire. Kwa nini mwafaje anza hiyo biashara? Mi kazi yangu ni kukuadvise tu.
We knew Salah bakery in Migori. So Oketch Salah is a son of an older Salah who we grew up in Migori knowing. And he found himself in that space.
And therefore he's not
I
a
can't
friend.
say I don't know him. Yeah, that would not be right. Why he was around Raila and what he was doing, I don't know. But many times I was told, go to Oketch Salah and do this and that. Go to Oketch Salah, or we are traveling with Oketch Salah. So I don't want why he was there. I don't know.
So so this means that somehow Winnie lied, and I don't know why she lied, or why she felt like she's treating him like an enemy. I don't know, maybe it's just grief, because your grief hits you in different ways. Maybe she felt like after her dad's death, this guy was using that opportunity to maybe become popular and become famous. I don't know, but at least from Dennis Onyango, who was also with Raila, I may confirm that Oketch Salah traveled to India. Oketch Salah, like Raila would even speak through Oketch Salah's phone. So walikuwa pamoja, and kama walikuwa pamoja, the probability that he was there during the final moments is also very high. So I don't know, maybe I think it's grief, and the way grief comes at us, because Raila's death, we can try and imagine like the way it made so many people sad all over the country. You can now try and imagine how it made Winnie feel. There was that famous photo. I remember seeing that photo, and it was such a sad photo. The photo of like Ilengepa, like when Winnie took that kihat and gave to the mother. And I remember that photo, it was so powerful. So I think it's grief talking, and maybe there are a few things that happened in the background that maybe the family didn't like how Oketch Salah handled. And with that, they were like, F you, we don't like the way you're doing this, so we are going to just separate ourselves from you, and we are going to disown you and say that we don't know you, and you're this stranger who should either apige left aende Mathare ama apige right aende DCI. That means you're a criminal or a crazy person. So that's how walikuwa nabonga juu yake. And but yeah, so niambie, what do you think about this whole Oketch Salah thing? Because now Dennis Onyango kusema hivi, it puts a whole different equation to this, man. And but pia tukifikiria juu yo death pia, it's Morris the bodyguard who was there more than Dennis there. So okay. Konene, najua mwaka ni mpya lakini injili ni ile ile Lemfi. So kama uko US, uko UK, uko Canada ama uko the UAE na unatry kutuma do Kenya, baki umechangamka, ingia Lemfi, utabaki umepata the most competitive rates. Lakini apart from that, on your first transaction ya $100 or more, utapata $20 sign up reward. So unangoja nini? Baki umechangamka, chap ingia Lemfi. Lemfi, international payments for everyone. Konene. But kutoka hapo, another thing is niliona hii video ya Jealous, and Jealous iko inasemekana that he was launching his campaign ya kuwa senator. And I remember watching this video and I don't know what to think about this video, because okay, he's surrounded by watu wa UDA and they're so excited to see him. I wonder why. Watch it watch. So kicheki kitu kama hii, because like when you watch the video, he comes out of the car, he's there high-fiving them, and you can see the way wanna try to clear the path for him to be able to walk. And if you had to ask me why this is happening, I'd say it's because of money. I don't think this is genuine love. I think this is that love of umsani za toboka. And don't forget, lately Jealous, tumebonga juu Jealous mara kadhaa, because ilikuwa kwa ile story ambavu Destroyer, he was there Nini, he was there get money from the president. Then just on Monday, he went back to the president to get money for get opportunities for useful idioti na ule msemingine wa Manchester United. And so yeah, he's been around here. So I guess maybe these people feel like akitokea hivi atawapatia do, but now the fact that he's surrounded na hizi hats zote za UDA, okay, you can see a few ODM ones, but it's interesting, man, like which is this to show that these party mbili zimeshikana kabisa, because this looked more like a UDA thing than an ODM. Like you see a lot of yellow, then some little sprinklings of orange, but the fact that everyone is also wearing a hat also shows you that this was a paid crowd. So that was interesting. Niasemekana that was him launching his campaign for Nini senator. Okay, good for him. But still tukistick na Kenyan politics, another dude ule nilicheki story yake ilikuwa mse anaitwa Waluke, and Waluke was giving a story, and kwa hii story kuna mse alikuwa translate anaitwa Abuga Makori. Alikuwa ameandika former president Uhuru Kenyatta forced Sirisia MP Major retired John Waluke to kneel down and poured whiskey on his face at State House, Nairobi. Uhuru insisted that Waluke must join Jubilee ahead of 2022. He was fresh from prison over corruption. Waluke, who narrated the ordeal, said Eugene Wamalwa and Wycliffe Wangamati were present. So, of course, this character, it's one of those characters that show you how being Ruto's friend is good, because this guy had been jailed, I think, for 67 years for corruption. But as soon as Ruto became president, he was freed, and inasemekanaga on the same day that Ruto became freed him, walienda hapo wakiwa kwa ndege wakienda a certain country. But wacha tusikize.
Mninyonge sawa. Kama hiyo kwa vile sijaiba kitu. Na nikakaa hivyo miezi ikaisha 3, ingine 3, miezi 6 ndani. Siku ile nilirudi, Uhuru alinirudisha. Akanitoa kwa UDA. Akasema unarudi Jubilee ama nikuongeze miaka.
kitu funny ni wasana cheka juu, but this also shows you if this is actually true, it also shows you how the president used to abuse power. That was Uhuru. Because kulikuwa na hiyo wasi walikuwa nasema, I think even when Ruto was getting doing his acceptance speech, alisema hizo story za kuna vile watu walikuwa intimidated to switch sides blah blah blah. So umsa alikuwa na confirm hiyo.
Na Waluya walilia, Wakukusu walilia, Wamaragoni walilia, wakasema Waluka amefanya nini? Wasema wachilia Waluka, Uhuru amekanyagia, kaniambia Ruto ama ni kuongeza. Sasa hiyo nimeenda huko, nikakuta Eugene Wamalwa huko, walikuja usiku wakanichukua saa 6 ya usiku, nikakuta Wamalwa na Wangamati.
Damn, okay. I guess this is a conversation we'll have with Wamalwa the next time. Tamuliza je story ya whiskey. Because now it gets weird because at some point he flipped the language, ama switched the language and couldn't understand what was going on.
State House. Wanakula mali yao. Waluke mheshimiwa wamekuja, nikasema nataka urudi kwa Jubilee. Na mimi nimechukua nomination ya UDA. Huyo mtu bwana. Nisio kahole. Mungu mwenyewe. Nisio kahole. Na madam bola nandi. Nandu mwami.
So from hapo walibaki amenipoteza, but of course here you can see the people laughing, and when people are laughing, especially when it's one of these questionable characters, these people forget all this money that was lost, that was taxpayers' money. This was money that you'll find part of the people laughing there, they could have benefited from that money. But we always separate ourselves from the corruption. And of course, one thing about Ruto is, as soon as he became president, all the cases against his close confidants were dropped. So kuna ile kesi ya kuna GC ya ule mse, kuna ile kesi ya murder na attempted murder ya ule dem ama ule maadhe. Take it. So kulikuwa na kesi ya corruption against Gachagua. All those cases were dropped. And so that's one thing that he did vile alikuwa nini. And but sasa Aluke, of course, saizi after Ruto kumsave, anasema aje? Anasema he's the one who's mandated to make sure that Ruto gets re-elected again. And yes, if someone saves you from a corruption case and saves you from 67 years of prison, you'd be indebted to them.
Nataka kukataza Lusaka na huyu mtu mwingine anaitwa Sabula. Hii mambo ya kuruka na vitu ambaye hamjui. Hawa ni magovernors, waende watengeneze caucus ya governors. Kama wata recruit na tembea there are 5. Na kama wacha recruit na tembea there are only 4. Wakae watengeneze caucus yao. Lakini sio kutoea ati anakuja hii yetu na hata hajachaguliwa na anataka kuingilia kazi ambayo sio yake. Na mimi nataka kusema ya kwamba hii re-election ya President William Ruto inafanywa na caucus ambaye mimi ni chairman ya hiyo caucus ya Western Parliamentary Caucus. Tunakuja tukikutana, coordinators watakuwa ni wabunge wenyewe. Tunataka kuitana mkutano ya kuhakikisha kwamba mbunge ndio coordinator ya hiyo constituency.
So nasikivila na bonga, and I can't blame him. A lot of us will be hypocritical and be like what, but someone who saves you from a jail sentence is kumbuka kuna vile kuna video nishaifanyaga like an interview, and the interview was with one of my uncles, and nilileta a conversation with my father kuzilikuwa ni kuzo ya Buddha. And alinipatia experience yake ya jela, cause nilikuwa napendaga sana kumquote, cause he'd always said this Luo saying of ngamotiri jela romgi ngamonegi, who has taken you to jail is equivalent to he who has killed you. And that statement stayed with me. Like, I'm someone who has a bad memory, but I remember nilisikiaga hiyo kitu in 2001. Podcast ilianza 2021, and I was quoting that. Like, that was 20 years later, and that stayed fresh in my mind. So I always associate prison with that. Like, a lot of people, I think nani tena ule, kuna mtu alikuja hapa akasema alikuwa jela and they do anything never to go back. Who else was that? Like, yeah, kuna like anyone who's gone through that system always talks about how they'd never want to go through it. Zizi kwa ile time nili interview wale like those university students. Remember the one that there was backlash about these university students, they're heartless, they are what? Because people didn't want to watch the video. So what do people assume that they were friends with the girl that passed away? Kumbe hata hawakuwa namjua, hawakuwa meet, ilikuwa just a stranger. Was it sad that happened? Yes, it was sad, but did they react the way anyone would react? Yes, because they were strangers who were imprisoned, and then eventually they ended up being free, and they were happy to be free. They were not happy that the mwingine alikuwa amededi. And I remember one of the girls alisema hiyo story ya she'd do anything never to go back. Kumbuka yeye hawakuenda prison, walienda, I think walikuwa kwa cell too, and that's what they were saying. So it shows you how jela inakuwaga serious, and if Ruto saved this guy from jela, you expect him to have that level of loyalty, achiki, because pia hizi vitu zetu ni corruption too. So you're there thinking that, you know, if I can thrive in this corrupt atmosphere and I can take advantage, why not, you know? So yeah, ekonene.